GSL Codes. We missed you guys. It's time to go on to our second best of 3. This is Scarlett versus aLive. Scarlett, the non-Korean hope. This is her 4th GSL Codes. aLive is no joke, though. This guy has been around since the dawn of the GSL Codes. He's a very seasoned player. And really, in the last year, he proved that he is not somebody who's going to stay where he's at. He's continuing to improve. He's continuing to move up. He's just, I'd say, 1 grade behind the very great Terrans that we always talk about, like TY and Innovation.
Yeah.
He's just behind that.
Yeah.
But this may be his year.
It could be. You know, he almost had his year previously. Like last year, he was doing a great job, right? And he's been doing so well, but you know, he's got to make a big stand at some point,
right?
Like win a GSL or something like that. Well, this is going to be a little bit of a revenge match coming up here.
That's right.
Definitely kind of thinking we talked to Scarlett in the makeup room before this, and she was saying this is a 50-50 for her. Feels like this could definitely go either way.
Yeah, Scarlett actually saying she was almost more confident against Rogue or DoKyung. Clearly stating that she's very comfortable in her Zerg vs. Zerg, but
yeah,
aLive is a very skilled player. He's got a lot of stamina and a TVZ as well. He'll keep pushing, he'll keep attacking.
I think Scarlett can take this.
We've also seen aLive rotate through various styles in each of the different years of StarCraft 2 we've had. We've had it where aLive is literally the most aggressive player.
Yeah.
To where he's been able to stay back and turtle and play more conservative games. So I'm curious to see what he's going to offer now in this new iteration of StarCraft 2. Map number 1 is going to be Catalyst. Again, the winner of this best of 3 goes on to face off against Rogue, the WCS Global Finals champion of 2017. It's a hard road ahead.
Season 1, Codes, Daybreak. When the lights come on, when the crowd goes wild, rip the roof up over here, take it to the surface.
In the upper left, in the blue, our non-Korean hope.
Team expert, Scarlett.
She must be really good if she's on Team Expert. It's a bunch of experts on
That's
the
right.
team.
One of the people that know what they're doing on there. In the bottom right, in the red.
My Insanity, aLive.
All right, tassels in the sky. Tell me, who do you think wins this?
Scarlett. Scarlett all the way.
2-0, 2-1?
2-1.
2-1. Macro plays, cheeses?
I think macro plays.
Okay.
I'm fine with it going anyway, but I'm guessing macro play. It is very impressive that Scarlett is in her 4th GSL Codes in a row.
Yeah.
First of all, most pro gamers, and this was mentioned in Scarlett's interview, most pro gamers, if they can even play in a GSL Codes, they would consider it that they've made it. Thanks for coming down, guys. We love you guys.
I mean, you're one of the very best in the world if you can make it here.
For Scarlett, she says that's not enough, and I really respect that. She now thinks that she should be in every GSL Codes.
Totally.
But she needs to get deeper and deeper into the tournament. And, Scarlett has put the work in for this to not be an outrageous statement.
Oh, she's in Korea so often.
Yeah, she's here all the time.
This is almost like home base.
Yeah, pretty much. Occasionally going back home to see family, but usually out here in Korea, grinding, studying, and the work pays off. And we've seen this, and not just with Scarlett, but with other non-Koreans out here, that it does pay off to be out here training.
Yeah.
On the Korean server, in a time when the ladder is super hot and everybody's active on it. And the Koreans have a lot of respect for her. We have the first Reaper coming in here now, and no kills just yet.
Very damaged drones. Oh! Oh my God! I thought for sure one of these would die.
Yeah. I almost called it ahead of time. How much damage each drone had taken.
Yeah.
But
they all went to like the final hit or so.
Yeah.
But the Reaper goes to the final hit. Finally gets his kill taste as Zergling.
A bunker coming down now to deny. Yeah, this was something that was really old that we saw. Like, I think it was even in the beta, this technique used of putting a bunker to kind of block this off.
So you can sell them.
Huh? Yeah, you can sell them.
Pretty sick.
You got to keep the receipt.
Yeah.
But you can return them. And this is going to slow down the third base, and I don't know because we're all still, everybody players, but also us as commentators, we're still unpacking each matchup to see what has really changed versus what still is the normal course of a matchup and the way that would have looked in 2017. But we'll see how much this actually slows Scarlett down and how much experience she has against this technique of trying to hard delay that expansion by making an obstruction that you have to get rid of before you can acquire it.
She stayed really calm,
Yeah.
Didn't let the geyser finish, did a cancel and a rebuild until she saw the Reaper was in her main, and then took it off. So not even losing a drone there. aLive putting in a hell of a lot of effort, and just delaying the hatch some. I mean, it's a nice delay, but still.
So, Stim coming down here now. We're in the phase where the 4 Hellions are going to come out and start trying to drive the creep back and just keep the Zerg somewhat under control.
Very innovation-esque build order here from aLive,
Yeah.
getting the 3rd command center after the Reactor Hellions start, and then going into the macro play a bit more.
And I think a lot of this is really that innovation influence of constant pressure without ever overextending. I think it's one of the best ways to sum it up. You're always in their face. You're always making them work to be safe, but you're never overextending. You're never going too far. You're never taking a risk.
Sure, he's picking over and over, seeing if there's a little bit of damage. Can I get a drone? There's 4 drones that aLive threaten there over and over and over. If he's playing someone that's not a pro gamer, he's going to get all 4 of those. And the game is already basically his. Now, Scarlett saves every drone, but that's fine because he's macroing well behind it. He's done something very safe, getting his 3rd base really super quickly. His upgrades are going to be just barely behind. His macro is really going to start kicking in. So we're looking at a nice macro game here on Catalyst to start off the series.
Yep, things steadily building up here. We're going to wait and see if any push is actually going to come out. 3rd base would not be a bad idea coming up here for the Terran. This is all really an eventuality. We're at the phase in StarCraft 2 where usually something crazy doesn't happen at the very immediate offset of a game. Yeah. Everybody's pretty much sanded down their builds to be very, very fine-tuned.
It's quite true. Look at this siege tank that's being made. This kind of excites me. Does he start another siege tank? Let's see.
Yeah, we're waiting.
This is what I'm excited
Nothing
about.
out of the factory yet.
We'll see.
Nobody casts until we see what comes out of the factory.
Well,
Hold your breath.
What I'm very interested in, right, because Ling Hydra Bane is so strong, is when you start your siege tank production and when you start your 2nd factory. Because this is something that I've been talking about since the Hydra Bane has kind of come out against Terran. The earlier you can get your siege tanks going, the earlier you can get that 2nd factory. That gives you more opportunities to actually get some damage done, to actually do a push that can cripple Zerg before Ultras. Because if you go Ling, you're going double Evo Ling upgrades generally with this build.
Right.
And once you get into your Ultraless play, like Terran has to switch their tech up. You have to do something else. Like you need like Ghosts or Liberators or just something other than just Bio and some tanks. But if you have 2 factory tanks going for quite a while, you can fight against this Ling Bane Hydra stuff, but it doesn't look like Scarlett's actually going to be going for Hydras. There's actually a Spire on the way. Look at that.
Yeah. Now the push is going to come up here on the side. This is the only area that Scarlett doesn't really have under control with creep here. And aLive is doing a great job of just hitting this hatchery. I think this is going to be forced to cancel. Or is Scarlett going to try to come back in? No. Okay, so the hatchery is denied, slowing down that growth progression on that side of the map. And I'm guessing if aLive does this correctly, he should just pack up and go home. I don't think he's going to try to hold this spot. Although Scarlett may try to come up from behind here and try to ambush this on this side.
It's like she's going to re-expand, I think, to that 4th, and then if that army is still there, she can eventually just wash over it.
As time passes, it's going to be very easy for the Zerg to gobble up this entire army. I mean, there's not an easy way to reinforce it. So the tank goes down, which I suppose on some level the tank was probably an expendable loss, considering the hatchery was denied. I think that's a worthwhile exchange in favor of the Terran there.
Yeah.
And basically what aLive's done is he's gone back, he's just regrouped, and he's probably going to try to poke out again and see if he can keep this momentum going. Sometimes taking out a Zerg, the easiest way to do it is to stay even on expansions with them, and every time they come out and try to expand, you just smash that. And then if you're really good, you don't try to then end the game, you go back and wait, because you should be eventually getting ahead, since the whole nature of Zerg is, generally speaking, to be ahead in expansions to your opponent.
Now, I'm kind of interested in this Mutalisk play, because Scarlett is just fantastic with the Ling Bane Muta, but this went out of style about the time that the Larva Inject count went down. And I think that that's a big part of it. You couldn't really macro as many Lings and Banes to actually break these bio-mine forces. And the thing is, the mine change, sure, you can see them after they go off, so you don't have to screw around with Overseers as much.
Yeah.
But they build so much quicker that you can just get way more mines than you used to be able to get. And look,
That's
this
true.
Drilling Claws is already on the way, so I'm fearful of these mutas working. I don't know.
Well, I think it would be a matter of seconds and everything could go completely south, you know? Right, Muta's actually in pursuit of this medevac. It's headed up here. Meanwhile, another drop in the upper right. I'm actually not clear on if there's anything to defend up there, so this drop is going to be denied over here. But in the upper right, okay, not anything to defend, but not much damage dealt here. aLive needs to be careful because, you know, it's good to keep the Zerg busy and keep sending out these medevacs, but sometimes if you have multiple attempted drops that don't do anything, you've given away so much supply, and the whole dynamic of the game is shifted.
You know what? I think I realize what Scarlett's doing here. Like, first off, I do want to commend her creep spread. It's ridiculous. But she's going up to the hive pretty quickly, and she only made this small group of mutas. She did get +1 attack, which made me think she might stay on mutas a little bit longer. But she's kind of forced, like this.
Is she going to get a deny here on this command? So this is actually huge.
Yeah, I guess so.
A lot of this comes down to the fact that SCV was sniped right before the CC finished, so it couldn't pick up and leave. So great play there by Scarlett, giving aLive a taste of his own medicine, then shutting down that expansion.
Now, like, aLive has switched it up and gone into, you know, some anti-Mutalisk tech. There's like some Thors being made and stuff. But Scarlett's just going straight into Ultras here with lots of Lings and Banes. Look at this attack coming out. Oh my god, really big Widow Mine hits right there, but the Banelings still rolling in. So many of them.
Really good arcing here by aLive, but it's just not enough. Eventually, he's chased all the way into the corner of the map, and then these Banelings go off. Great play, 13 Banelings down, still enough mutas to continue to deal damage. Now 21 killed. And this is going to be very hard for him to recover from, and actually taking out the armor upgrade over here on the eBay.
That's huge. What a great pick off there after killing 25 SCVs and that 4th command center.
He's not done, Artosis. Both eBays go down, and the mutas can easily escape, taking a medevac out as well. Okay, so this is where aLive has been hugely gimped. This is so hard to recover from as Terran, particularly with the eBays being taken out. Now, that was probably not Scarlett's plan to go in there and take out the eBays, but she got in there and did so much damage, and then voila.
Yeah.
2 eBays are just sitting there. Of course you're going to take that. This means that Scarlett is going to be much more robust in the late game, and there's really no easy way for Terran to try to overcome that other than to sit and wait for his upgrades to finish.
And after losing that 4th CC, I don't think that's a doable thing.
I agree.
Like, I mean, aLive is going to be 3 upgrades behind. It's going to be 3-3 Adrenaling Ultra Baneling. And it's like you're playing against that with 2-1 bio? Yeah, good luck with that.
Okay. aLive with a ditch attempt to try to come in here and push. If Scarlett handles this correctly, I think that it's going to be completely out as far as options go. Yeah, that's going to be it. Scarlett coming in here and cleaning this up easily. GG. Game number 1. A victory for Scarlett.
Yeah, I think that aLive got caught off guard there a little bit with the fact that no Hydras ever came. He was starting siege tank production, and then he went into mines. Like, he had 2 tanks or so. The first tank was really useful in canceling the 4th of Scarlett, so that was fantastic. But I don't know, he never really found his stride there. Scarlett just, it was like, kind of like a bot. Like, she just, like, destroyed him that game.
Yeah.
Cool, interesting strategy, too, getting that group of mutas. Like, obviously, that helps deal with drops as well as it ever has, but not really committing that much to it.
Yeah. Really nicely done, and especially considering that aLive looks so solid at the start of that game. The fact that Scarlett was somebody that proved to be just too powerful, too everywhere in that last game, I think that shows a lot of promise, especially when you consider that Scarlett said that this was probably going to be her tougher opponent was aLive. I think Scarlett's got a very good shot of getting out of this group.
Yeah, it's looking like it after that game for sure. And Neon Violet Square going to be next. Can Scarlett take down aLive 2-0? That would be hype.
Let's find out. Game number 2 is loaded up. Let's go.
Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. When the lights come out.
in the upper left in the blue. She is.
Team expert, Scarlett.
In the bottom right in the red, our Terran player.
My Insanity, aLive.
Okay. The way that game looked, I'm feeling supremely confident in Scarlett getting out of this group.
Me too.
I think DoKyung is not of the same level as her, and I think Rogue probably will defeat her, but that's fine. I think she can absolutely... Like, that game, the way it looked, it was just like, oh, okay, your creep spread is everywhere, you have so many more units. aLive canceled your 4th when he had his 3rd already, and it was not a problem at all. It was not an issue. You didn't ever look like you were going to die. Okay, I think you're getting out of this group today. I think we're going to have a 4 in the round of 16.
And, you know, even I think if Scarlett is to lose to Rogue, which really there's no shame in losing to Rogue, considering how well he's been performing, I think that if she loses there, I think she still can probably get out easily.
Yeah, it seems that way from these limited amount of games we've seen so far. So excited for it. Looks like very standard builds so far here from both our Zerg and Terran. Probably just going to be that reactor and Hellion once again, but the second gas is being gotten, so should see some more tech before that 3rd command center. A little bit more of an aggressive opening here from aLive.
I'm still not used to this retro video game look we have in the middle of the map.
It's cool though, I like it.
What's that game? Bubble Bop or whatever?
Bubble Bobble?
Not Bubble Bobble? Yeah, not Bubble Bop.
Bubble Bop?
There's some retro... What is the one where you have the guy that jumps up the squares?
Oh, Qbert.
Qbert, thank you.
Yeah, come on. Qbert was a very hard game. I got that for like one of my... for Nintendo for a birthday when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was just excited to get a Nintendo game. Like, thanks, Mom! And so I like started playing it, and it was just like really hard, and like... I mean, everyone's played Qbert, right? Like,
yeah.
And I was a pretty small kid. I'm not sure how old I was. I want to say I was around 8, 9. So I didn't end up playing as much Qbert. Like, if you'd give me any other game on Earth, I would have played it 1,000 times. With Qbert,
yeah.
I played it some, and like, eventually the spring snakes would get me, or I'd jump off the edge, and like, I'm like, all right, well, I'm glad I have another Nintendo game.
Remember when you were a kid and like you of course you don't have any money, so you have to wait until your birthday or Christmas to get a new game?
And me and my brother would pool all the money all year long
to
get up that magical $24 for a new Nintendo cartridge.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes you get a game and you'd be like, yes! And then you play it and you would beat it that day. And it would actually be horrible because you thought it was going to take much longer.
That happens sometimes.
I remember one time on Christmas, the gift I got, my grandma got me Sonic 2. I already had Sonic 2.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Grandma, you messed up.
You got to return it then.
Yeah. She's like, well, now you win. Your brother can play. I'm like, Grandma, that's not how this
Shut
works.
Up, Grandma.
Grandma, you're ruining Christmas. Yeah. It's much better to be a grown-up if you're a gamer.
Yeah.
You can finally just buy your own games.
That's true.
So, you see that Ling get taken out there? We had Cloak on the way. I'm sorry, the Cloak just canceled?
The Ling scouted Banshee plus Cloak, so he just immediately went into Liberator instead. You know, you see the Cloak, you got to counter it. So, some mind games coming out of aLive here.
Right.
Not sure how well it'll work. Scarlett definitely makes a fair amount of queens, and I think should be able to deflect all of the harassment from that Liberator.
Scarlett's really become that very solid reactionary Zerg. Mm-hmm. Like, these are the scariest Zergs to play against, are the ones that just keep growing and getting bigger. And I've used this example a couple of times. I use this with Dark as well, but one of these players to play against where if you leave your base, you feel like an idiot because everything that you had died because Zerg was just too big. Great harass, by the way, though, here from these Hellions. Getting a lot more drones than I expected. Yeah, nicely done.
I guess now we do see a little sloppy part from Scarlett. You know, if she has just a small group of Lings with that, 8 drones do not go down. So that was a good move. Like, aLive saw a little opening and killed some drones. They are on the way. 1-1 already started for aLive, so I really like that about his play. He's going to be ahead on upgrades this game instead of behind.
Looks like the Lings will just now spot that command center, which is actually fairly exposed. That's a pretty nude expo out there. There's nothing really to defend just yet. Although I don't know if Scarlett's going to do anything to pounce on that and take it out.
Oh, 3 kills. Not bad.
No, I'd say this harass is overall much better for aLive than it was in game 1.
Dude, 11 worker kills already. 68 drones and 57 drones. Those are 2 very different numbers, believe it or not.
I believe you.
I mean, in the grand scale of the age of the universe, not as big, but for this one StarCraft game here and now, right here, you know, the 13th of January 2018, it's quite a few drones.
Certainly is. Liberator comes down again. 1 drone taken out. Looks like if the targetings were done right, okay, no more targeting on the workers.
Yeah, I could have gotten 3 there, but just dies. Oh well. Baneling speed on the way. Hydralisk Den. Okay, so much more standard play here.
Okay, so I was about to ask the question, but aLive already did it. I was going to say, are we going to see a push out here with the 1 tank and the Marines and medevac? And clearly we are, although I don't really feel like there's an easy place to push at.
There's nowhere to push, I think. The creep spread's already good enough that I think that this is... It's a... I mean, maybe you can... You want to go after a 4th, generally. Oh, is he going to go to the main?
You notice there's office buildings in the background of this map? There's like people working in there.
Oh, geez.
Some people are off work.
It's a GSL studio. We're casting from that 3rd building on the right.
Okay, actually, this is doing way more than I thought.
Yeah.
I assumed there'd be no way to actually drop in, or I guess the unexpected is what happened. Scarlett probably also not anticipating this drop coming in here. But the Queens are coming up. 1 medevac goes down. More targeting here on the 2nd medevac. I believe it actually will not be able to get away. Nicely done. Now we're going to have to bring up the tab to see what was lost back here to get an idea of...
2 Queens, a drone. He was targeting the spawning pool for a bit with the tank, so he actually missed several volleys there. He missed 2-3 shots on the units.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that was actually a pretty good trade there in Scarlett's favor.
Yeah, I would agree.
I mean, losing the medevacs especially makes the Terran not really as sustainable in the middle of the map. So this is one of those games, in some ways a little bit similar to the last game we saw, where one player's dropping the other, but the drops are actually hurting the player who's being aggressive. Kind of.
And now that the Hydras are coming out, this is when drop play gets slowed way down anyways, because Hydras will just gun down your medevac. Like, you have to be very careful at this point if you want to continue doing drops. Like, generally people will for a little bit, but as Hydralisk speed finishes and you know, you kind of have that vision, there's not a Viking to push back Overlords anymore. I don't think that there's a whole lot there. And look at this. Oh my god. She has played him like a fiddle, man. He's going for Burrowing Claws and Thor. You want siege tanks right now. He thinks it's going to be Mutas again.
Okay, here we go. 2 spores up. Let's see if there's anything else to defend. Keep in mind this spawning pool is actually pretty low, so that could still be targeted down. We don't... Okay, here come the Lings now. The spawning pool will go down. Again, not the end of the world, but definitely a nuisance for Scarlett. Good positioning here by aLive as the remainder of the forces try to come up here to clean this up. In fact, this army's doing maybe too much Artosis.
Yeah, fantastic.
This was the drop that did what it was intended. The whole concept of dropping is what it's supposed to look like, guys.
Yeah. Dropping right through the 2 spores as well. I like it. It's,
very bold move. Had there been a Hydras there to gun that down, aLive would be way in the hole. But
I think sometimes you make some static D in your main, and then you're like, all right, he won't go there.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, he did, and that was a ton of damage. So overall, the harassment, despite that 1 tank drop that kind of got slammed, has been very good. Okay, so see, he's switching back into siege tanks now. He's seen those Hydralisks. But still, that is a nice little thing that's happened for Scarlett here. You know, there's at least, I think, a Thor on the map, and Drilling Claws did finish, which is probably not going to be useful all game. And already, Vipers on the way, Ultralisk Cavern on the way.
That's right.
That's, like, there's not going to be a good timing attack with Siege.
You see the Baneling at the rock?
Yeah. That hurts. The lasitude of that. Just right-clicking the rock shake. Nah, it's fine. They'll kill it before that gets there.
I know this well enough to know the last Hydra shot will hit before the Baneling connects. Oh, I guess not.
Not quite.
Well, when we get to the final tech here with Ultras being available, with enough Vipers there to really combat what the Terran has, this is where Zerg, despite that drop up there, Zerg is generally most comfortable at this part of the game.
Yeah. Well, look at the creep spread.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
As a general rule, don't fight against Ultralisk-based armies on creep spread as any race with any unit composition. Like, it's crazy to try to do anything in those areas.
How does this retro arcade game map stuff impact a push?
Well, you probably don't want to attack through it.
Yeah, I was looking
Well,
at
I guess
that.
as Terran you would.
No, as Terran you want to get your whole army stimmed up and sit there.
Yeah. Use it as little choke points. Screw up the
They look like little
pathing.
Jello shots or something.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
Little Jello cubes.
Okay, here we go. They're coming in. And actually, this angle's pretty good. There's one queen. It goes down inside the obstructions in the middle of the map.
A little harassment there with those two lings, but it looks like...
Well, aLive actually wants to try to take this hatchery out here. I think that aLive is going to get it unless... Okay, hold up. Scarlett's coming in right now.
Oh my god,
man.
a lot of blinding clouds coming down right now, covering most of these siege tanks, so that's very well done.
Okay, aLive pushed all the way back. I believe the hatchery is still at a decent amount of health. Great denial there by Scarlett. Oh, it's so weird watching this army move through here.
Yeah.
Some kind of like obstacle course they got to run through.
If this was a StarCraft 1 map, no one would play it.
Oh, yeah. Scarlett's got to be careful because Hydras and Ultras are not the greatest retreating units, but she identified right away.
But yeah,
back up.
Just holding that was the most important part because this was like the timing before she has a bunch of Ultras. Now the Ultras are coming out, and aLive, he realizes this, right? He's throwing down his fusion core. He's going to be going into mass liberators. That's definitely one way you can try to fight against this, but it's difficult. Okay, the Ghost Academy coming down. That's what I really wanted to see here. The Ghost is really kind of the unit that you can utilize if you are good enough. It's super hard if you're good enough to take out a unit comp like this.
Yeah.
Because the Liberators are going to have a hard time against Vipers.
Okay, the drop coming up here on the far left. There's so much creep here that Scarlett should see this way before it actually commences. You know, I don't know if there's going to be room for a push here from the Terran for a little while, especially with these drops coming up like this. I guess aLive can try to deny some of this creep. I mean, the creep spread is honestly so good at this point in time.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's really any way. If you look at just even the Overlord spread at the very, very top, close to the man, there's really no way to actually surprise Scarlett.
Yeah, that's very true.
I don't see any way to slip in. So this is a real uphill fight for aLive. Despite him having some great drops like that one in the main, I think Scarlett's in perfectly good condition, especially after denying the big push.
And the fact that she's getting into Broodlord tech at this point as well, I really, really like that. Has some corruptors out there. The Ghost play is going to be super important. And aLive, like, we haven't seen aLive with Maru or TY tier Ghost pushes. And that's, like, what you need in this situation.
Yeah.
Like, those are, like, the two guys where if they go Turret, Liberator, Ghost, you better be scared. Like, they know how to reposition that over and over and just gain value throughout the game. Can aLive pull that off? I'm hoping so. Otherwise, he's going to get rolled because that creep spread is not as many as he's killed. As many timbers as he's killed, it doesn't matter.
You know, aLive looking for an opening, there's just not really one there. The creep spread is so far out that the next 3 available expansions for Scarlett are already completely covered.
Yeah.
Like,
seriously.
I don't know if Terran's supposed to just try to drag this game out to an hour and then eventually have the last base with minerals at it, because this is going to be very tough to win on.
Well, Ghosts gain you a lot of value over time, so that definitely can be a way to go about it.
Oh!
And, you know, if you're sitting behind these quote-unquote neon violet squares, it's hard for Zerg to attack and actually finish the game.
It's actually a pretty insane obstruction in the map.
Yeah.
I'm not even saying I'm against it. It's just you have to acknowledge that that's an awkward area to try to push through.
Yeah. That's the point.
I'm actually trying to think of a map where there's anything even close to that awkward.
There's nothing quite like that that we've seen before, I would say.
Okay, what we need is, what is it called when you get like a bunch of hedges and make a maze? Like in those,
a hedge maze?
Is that called a hedge maze? Like a secret garden? It's not called a hedge maze, is it?
Yes, it's called a hedge maze.
We need like a little secret garden
maze. What do you call
maze.
it when you have a hedge and you make a maze? It's like, are we...
I thought we could do better than that. I thought there was a fancier word.
When it's the certain time where you want to have tea, what do you call that? The time for tea, what do you call that?
You call that the time for tea or toast.
Oh, okay.
That's the official way to say it. What else could you possibly call it?
I don't know.
Not tea time.
Certainly not.
No, we need like one of those.
That's hilarious.
One of those old school secret guarded mazes in there.
Yeah.
And there's extra gas that you can pick up in the middle, like it's single player. If you find
like
your way
that in StarCraft 1 where you would lose vision walking through that little area. It was a terrible map, but this is. I don't know. I like it because this is starting to hit that kind of Brood War feel of maps on some of these maps. These map makers have become so good.
Yeah, we get a little eccentric with some of these map styles. I dig it, man.
Some cool stuff.
The pro gamers might not like it, but I'm okay with it.
That's generally the way.
Tastosis
want to see them struggle. That's what's so fun. Struggle through those neon violet squares.
In the year 2025, we just have nukes that constantly go off randomly in the middle of the map.
I want it.
Everything is chaos.
The lava's coming. It's like tearing lifts off all their buildings.
I would actually not even be against that.
No, I totally.
I would actually be fine if it was a map where lava filled up in the middle.
Absolutely. I want it. So, I love that there are nukes being made. Mass Vikings are on the way. We're hitting this super late game type of thing. And I love that aLive has slowed it down into this because there was a point in time where this guy would have already have been out of gas. You know what I mean? Not gas itself. You'd actually be out of minerals and you'd have a ton of gas because the guy would only make Marines and Marauders.
This ghost is going undercover, Atosis.
Yeah, he's going for a little nukey nuke.
He's going to go. Now, Scarlett sometimes doesn't play with sound.
She's going to try to play with sound today, she said. He likes to nuke her.
Here we go. I don't think she sees it, man. The drones are still... Okay, she sees it. And snap dodge.
I did specifically ask her, kind of tongue-in-cheek. Oh, wow, that's funny. Kind of tongue-in-cheek about it, if she was going to play with sound today. She said, you know, it's actually really hard to, but she's going to try.
I can't play a game without sound, to be honest. I need to have sound.
It's tough.
Well, I think the nuke game, considering how she handled that, should not be too impactful. This is a very tough spot to break open.
Yeah.
I think aLive took the right direction in this game, considering that aLive was beat up after the initial push. I think the fact that he hunkered down.
I think it's perfect. The map is so big, though. Like, even if you got a TY or a Maru doing this, doing this style, it's still so hard. You know, it's like, how do you actually push this map? How do you deny these bases, as you said, that Scarlett already has had covered with creep for minutes? You know, like, how are you going to deny those? It almost seems like taking half map and grinding this out with ghosts.
Yeah,
might be the best way for him not to ever move. You know, can he gain value here as opposed to Scarlett gaining value here?
It's kind of funny this was even attempted to be landed up there.
It's funny watching 3 Hydras just chase us around on the top side of the map.
Whoa, did you see that?
Did he just disappear?
It hooked, it stabbed the ghost, and then as the spine was pulling back, it took the ghost with it and it flew past it.
Oh, I didn't see that. I was looking where the ghost died, and he just seemed to disappear to me.
That was great. I love the ragdoll effects.
Yeah. Death animations just rule. StarCraft 2, it's so good.
Yeah, and we're old enough where we would play first-person shooters games, and everything was a sprite. It was 2D.
Yeah.
Remember Doom?
Oh yeah, it was an amazing game.
Yeah.
First computer game I was really.
But then Half-Life came out, and you're like, oh my god, I kill him, and then I go around the body, and it's 3D. Yeah. So
I'll never forget shooting corpses in those early games. Just the corpses lying there, just put like 4 rounds of bullets in.
Well, this is tricky now.
Yeah.
Scarlett has the option to try to...
We need Ghost Blink, don't you think?
Yeah, Ghost Blink, yeah. I think Ghosts need to carry the nuke and just nuke themselves. Some kind of a super Baneling.
Oh my god. That'd be crazy. By the way,
yeah, go ahead.
Just this spell casting from the Vipers is so awesome. Super duper neato.
All right. Look at Shine. He's so good at observing. He's getting that nuke. So Scarlett pulls this away. Nukes, nukes are kind of funny because I think they were always intended to be like the most epic part of StarCraft 1 and StarCraft 2. You can get a nuke, it's going to be crazy. And really in pro matches, until you have to get to this phase of the game where they may have an impact. And really what you're doing is you're forcing the Zerg to juggle a lot and to try to watch the minimap constantly or nuke lands. But oh my god, that ghost is going to get a tattoo about this experience.
Jeez. Don't let it define you, Ghost.
That's right.
So, all right. He hasn't been using much sniping. A few coming out now. So, all right. See, these are the type of moves that we need to see over and over.
This is where you're trading mana for units, especially ones that cost gas. Is always an effective thing. Well, aLive has actually taken both the direct bottom and direct far right, direct east side base over here. So the thing is, for aLive, there's almost nowhere that you can easily expand to from here.
Yeah, it gets a little bit tricky because it's so hard to expand far out against Zerg as Terran. But the thing is, he doesn't need those bases right away. I'm okay with aLive taking 1-2 bases and then shifting his defense north a bit and taking the other bases.
Sure, yeah.
He doesn't need all the minerals and gas right away, as long as he's being really efficient about it.
The very bottom left and the base that's to the right and just north of the base that aLive already has are probably the two most likely to be taken from here, but they are tough. I think the center right is probably the one that's going to be attempted by aLive, but it won't be for a while.
Yeah. The bottom left is Scarlett's area, and the top right is aLive's area.
Actually, I agree. I think bottom left is, if Terran were to take that would be so hard to hold.
Impossible. The thing is,
it might be better for Terran to take just the top two right bases when that time eventually comes.
I think the trickiest part becomes, when he needs to actually defend top right. How does he do that without losing all of his production buildings and depots? Because, if you have enough units to defend 200 army supply of Zerg in top right, I feel like Scarlett can then kill your main base. It's just too far away. You can't rotate all that.
Scarlett's supposed to go Niduses or something like that?
Well,
is there...
If aLive actually expands further away than he is now, because if you look at the bases he has, right? He has that fourth base. That's the edge of where he's at. And then the other bases cover his main. It's this arc that covers the whole area. So this is still a very centralized set of bases for him. If he commits to expanding the top two right bases, yes, I think she should get Nidus 100%. Because you kill off all his buildings, and what's he going to do? You're going to rebuild your main base in the top right? I guess so.
Can we point out how much gas aLive has? Look at that. 8,200.
It's quite a bit.
That's a lot. That's a lot of tech that you can remake. Scarlett a little bit under 3,000. Minerals at about 7,000 to 6,000 here. So there's points in time where they could actually full-on attack into each other, and then both sides can easily remake their armies.
And this is one point where on previous patches we would have seen mass Ravens with this gas, but the way that the Raven is right now, there's not really... What is he supposed to spend this gas on in this matchup late game?
I don't know.
Raven is your gas-heavy unit. So...
Yeah, you just have a lot of gas?
Yeah. He'll never spend all his gas. It just won't happen.
You put that in account for your kid's college? Hold up. We got a big attack coming in here now. Scarlett has pulled the trigger. We have a ton of banelings rolling through, and there's really nothing here on the ground for Terran.
God,
whoa!
Great spell casting there.
Remember when we talked about this was going to be a turtle game? Scarlett's like, watch this.
Jeez.
Okay, well, goodbye, bottom center. Okay, wow, all right, so Scarlett, I think, can actually...
Brutal.
Well, she's already continuing to remax out. We have 11 Corruptors and 46 Lings hatching, and I think you just rinse and repeat.
Yeah, 7 Vikings on the way right now. Definitely needs a lot of Vikings to clear this. But the spell casting upon those air units, fungal growthing them basically in place and attacking with Corruptors while throwing down parasitic bombs. It's such a crazy set of combos that can just ravage those air units quickly. You need to be able to utilize your ghosts so quickly in these scenarios.
Okay, not a bad drop there from aLive. However, economically, aLive is in shambles. Now, granted, he did have a lot of money banked up, but Scarlett did not really lose that much, besides Banelings, which is fine. I believe this game should be approaching the end. I don't think that aLive can actually hang on here, even with this many ghosts.
Yeah, we see
great fungal. Look at that.
We see a lot of great sniping going on now, but is there enough to clear this army? And if there is, Scarlett's coming again. Scarlett does lose a lot of supply there, a lot of snipes going off. Or steady shot.
Oh no. Well, that's one way to make it worse for aLive here. losing that small chunk of units. Keep in mind, aLive's already supply block, so unable to make anything but depots at this point in time.
Look at the money. Scarlett's gas is getting pretty low.
That's true. The next big attack, if it's bungled, it would be tough for Scarlett to then. She'd have to wait a little bit to attack it again. But I think the fact that aLive is almost over defending that center right, he's basically spread too thin overall here. And now we see production getting torn apart. And aLive doesn't want to come back and try to take this on directly. aLive is instead going to try to do an attack here at the top center.
The Ghosts basically have to do a lot of heavy lifting down there if he's going to do anything about it. I like the counterattacks, getting rid of some of these bases for Scarlett, but
oh my god,
losing all this production, this is rough.
A scan here, nice EMP.
Yeah, that was good. Good stuff, so he can't just get fungled and die. There might not even be, are there Overseers over with that army? The Ghosts might be able to clear things up pretty well. Yeah, the Overseers all went with the Corruptors.
Well, I think the Ghosts can clear it up. I think the problem is that aLive, first of all, his supply is way down and can't even remake that many units. I mean, Zerg can mostly just make Lings, but Lings I think are actually going to be fine in this situation.
Look at Scarlett's supply. Are they going
or maybe this is closer than I thought.
I think Scarlett's still definitely winning, but she's barely mining.
Yeah.
Like she's got almost no mining going on.
That attack actually did a lot of damage, but I think Scarlett can close this one out.
Yeah.
Especially if she takes out this base up here.
I think she's got better stuff overall.
If the Zerg, if the Terran loses the Ghosts, it's going to end immediately. The Ghosts are everything that Terran has, and great bungles there. Can we see any more?
Dude, there's almost no ground here. There's like an Ultra, 2 Hydras, 3 Broods.
Yeah, I think Scarlett might not have been identifying how powerful these Ghosts can be in these small numbers.
Well, I think I was...
Oh my god, it's 68 to 101.
It felt funny to me to watch aLive just like letting his main die, but then he goes and kills like all your bases and just...
There's also only 10 drones, Artosis. I just noticed that.
Only 10 drones.
There's only 10 workers for
36
Scarlett.
for aLive.
Watch people try to kite Broodlords. Broodlords trying to run away and fire. Now, every Ghost is very important here. Okay, so we're getting to the weird area of StarCraft where unit compositions are odd. A lot of the map is, I mean, literally the entire map is occupied by creep unless aLive has a base there. So the map is still a fairly dark and scary place for aLive, although if Scarlett is the one that actually knows how few workers she has. Now that being said, it's not like aLive has a ton of workers here. And even if aLive is to make a few more units, he has to start making depots again. Whereas Scarlett basically has the infrastructure to keep producing for a while.
She's out of minerals pretty much. Like, where does she have hatcheries that have minerals? Just very few patches. Yeah, there's one. She's going to walk a spore on the back. This is really buying a lot of time for aLive, though, and he's got enough production. Look at this. He's making 3 reactors right now, making sure he can really get that unit count up. This was a pretty clutch victory from aLive. I'm actually really, really impressed because I felt like Scarlett did a very good job. Like,
let's see. I mean, the thing is, aLive still has to come out with a full-on attack, and with this much vision, it definitely sets Zerg up to have some good fungals.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Catch a small army.
If you nail, look, there's 4 infestors, right? You nail 4 good fungals. You come in with your ultras and broods. You could clear.
If we were able to just toggle vision here to see how little of the map aLive can see, where Scarlett practically has map hacks on. Now, I don't know when this push is going to happen. Scarlett's up to 20 workers to 37. It seems like the Liberator harass is the name of the game. Now, remember, even though aLive did a lot of damage, aLive never got to see the exact drone count. So there's ambiguity. I mean, it's very easy for us as spectators to see this and say, oh, Scarlett only had 10 workers. Maybe aLive should have pushed. But aLive definitely probably was looking around going, does it seem like she has that many drones?
Yeah, and maybe doesn't know exactly where the army is or what it consists of.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, like a couple good fungal growths hit and aLive's army can be killed.
Oh, aLive was going to poke out and then went back. So, also, you know, this is sort of the opposite of early game where you just basically should know what your opponent has because there's only so much income. You know, there's defined numbers here where there's been so much traded back and forth. It's very hard on either side to calculate who has what. Scarlett is now evened out in worker production, but aLive has a pretty impressive supply, and I think aLive making the wiser choice, took the upper right instead of trying to push.
Yeah, I think that's super good. Like, he can take these bases and make Scarlett come to him and play that more defensive game. If you're attacking in on creep against things like Fungal, that's super hard. But
yeah,
if Scarlett's kind of like low on everything and you're just taking these bases, remassing, this is a good play by aLive. He's making a lot of great decisions.
This is exactly what makes StarCraft so sick.
Yeah.
Is games like this.
It's such a weird game.
Yeah, keep in mind the bottom left is still mineral rich, but inaccessible to aLive. So Scarlett's almost, in a way, banking that for later.
Get wrecked!
Lasers! Beep, 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 beep. Okay, so that's gonna live. Oh!
Will I ever get used to that?
I'm never gonna get used to that, Artosis. So aLive can push, I think, and win, assuming that the Fungals are not like on point.
Watching these.
Oh my God, the Fungals are on point.
Jeez.
Oh my God.
Watching the units go through those neon violet squares reminds me of Pachinko.
yeah, I like that. There's how many medevacs are actually in this group? Is it like 3 or something?
1.
Is it actually 1?
It's
oh
1.
Yeah. So every fungal, excuse me, is pretty strong.
Yeah.
The Vikings though seem to be the pushing force here. Now,
with those Liberators, you can't really attack in with your Ultras. Those will die really fast in this situation.
Ooh, another great fungal. I don't know if these fungals are doing enough though.
Yeah, when she's out of fungals, she can't interrupt these ghosts as well. Oh my God, that AMP was awesome too. All right. Well, it seems like aLive is finishing this.
I think so. I think this is actually going to be the killing blow here. What a game.
This is a sick game.
Okay, so aLive's going to try to push bottom left. And you can see how cautious aLive is being, but we know the true story that Scarlett is so low on everything. By the way, this is going to be an exhausting game for both these players.
Oh, yeah.
To even have to play other best of threes after this is going to be a tall order.
Yeah, one of them will have to play right next to. 2 Ultras just doing nothing.
Scarlett lets that hatch survive a little bit longer. We now have landed Vikings against Ultralisk. This is the revenge version of the Heart of the Swarm trailer.
I think that...
we can fight Ultras on the ground.
Turns around and kills him anyways.
Okay. Scarlett is still not out of the game yet. I just can't see a way that she can recover. aLive is being so cautious here with this 1 HP. Okay, hold on. That's a lot of ghosts.
Was insane.
Somehow they're all still here, though. Cloak is a good spell. GG.
Okay.
What a game. Damn.
That was a sick game.
That was really special.
Yeah, really
That
fun.
was really something.
Oh, man. So 1-1 right now. Scarlett actually looking a bit upset from that game.
Well, I mean, how can you not be upset? I mean, you almost had that game. The fact that Scarlett barreled through and obliterated everything, but aLive was so clutch. aLive, I guess, has experienced that enough times to say, no, I got this. Turtle on Ghost to start counterattacking. Ultra Broodlord is not fast. Your Lings alone are not going to break my turtle position in my base. I can actually sack part of my main, a lot of my depots.
Just impressed after she was killing all of his main. Just like, he kept so calm. He kept his ghost back for a bit, killed a bunch of bases. Like, that was really well done.
So many Terran players whining and complaining, literally the tears going back into their eyes with a victory like that, Artosis.
It's like when snot's coming out of your nose.
Crying on rewind, yeah. Okay, our final map is Blackpink. aLive has proven he's a tenacious player in the late game. Scarlett has shown that despite heavy harass from Terran, she can come all the way back and crush it. The winner here goes up against the world champion.
Yeah.
I have to imagine Rogue looking at this game, even him probably a little bit worried after seeing games like this, seeing how solid both these players are.
Yeah, it's true.
GSL Season 1, Code S, Daybreak. When the lights come out.
In the upper right in the blue, our Canadian player.
Team Expert, Scarlett.
In the bottom left in the red.
My Insanity, aLive.
Full studio today. Lots of people here watching.
I'm glad we had a game like that last one. That's super cool.
Oh yeah. This is a good
I feel
group.
like, what was it, day one? We had some pretty straightforward ABC games.
Groups A and E are not really that great of groups. Like everything else, though, I'm like, okay, there's some really great games to be had in the rest of these groups.
Yeah.
Some real contention upon, at least second place in each group.
Now, does this game look similar to that last one? I don't think so. I think that last game, the late game there, was the anomaly, and I think that was one that Scarlett probably took a lot away from. That was a loss that was actually quite valuable for Scarlett.
Yeah.
Because the odds of her getting in a situation like that is probably quite low.
Also, let's not forget, she lost a good, 11 drones pretty early on that game.
Yeah, good point.
And that was definitely a big part of it, right? Like, the earlier you lose workers, it really stacks up how much damage that's actually doing to you.
All right, some support here for Scarlett.
When she wins the games, I think to myself, yes. When she loses the games, I think to myself, no.
That is profound.
That must be a meme or something, man.
That would be good copy pasta on Twitch. Now, in this game, is aLive going to do as much damage with the drops? Because it does seem like, overall, and minus the super late game, Scarlett seems to be a stronger player. Even when she takes damage, she's usually able to come back. Like, Scarlett should have won game number 2, in my opinion. After breaking that, I think if she handles the next few steps correctly, she's fine. I think she underestimated how many times she would have to pull back, regroup, and come in with another big blow.
Yeah.
She thought the game was over.
Eventually had no bases left. Well, aLive looks like he's once again going for a similar Tekker-heavy build. Has decided that he wants to kill some drones early on rather than play on his own macro, which I think is a good choice. Scarlett, I think, generally is a better macro player, but aLive a better aggressive player. So kind of playing that role here, see if he can get something done once again. Oh, you got a drone! Crazy!
That's going in the highlight reel.
Last game, he was denied 4 drone kills. Well, he lost the Reaper a lot quicker, so that's one thing.
Not as much poke ability, not as much scouting now.
Roach Warren on the way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
We seem to be having a deviation here.
Yeah, and there's no third hatchery, so that's kind of interesting.
Is that a response to the fact that the Reaper was killed off right away?
I'm looking at this, right? Last game, it went like Viking into Liberator with some Hellions out there. If you catch something like that, like if she were to get aggressive with this, you could be in good shape. But right now there's a Siege Tank building. There's a Banshee on the way. So if she were to be aggressive with Roaches, that would be about the worst thing that she could do here. She has taken a third hatchery, so this could just be a very defensive play. Just saying I'm not losing anything to Hellions this game. Or possibly to get a few Ravagers to really bomb out a Liberator that's trying to harass, rather than running around with Spores and Queens all day. But there is no Liberator, Tasis.
That's right, Artosis. There's a Banshee coming up. Ling still checking, trying to monitor if Terran's pushing out at all. These Marines not going to try to come out and drive out that Ling. That is and always will be one of the big mini games in StarCraft, is trying to go out and take out the unit that's spotting, and the spotting unit to run back a little bit and then move back into position. There's so many little mini games going on in any StarCraft 2 game at any given point in time. Okay, so the Banshee comes in.
Spore ready, though.
Pre-cloaked. Looks like there's some drones that are exposed over here.
Oh, wow, nice. 3 kills already. Ooh, high quality right there, 4 kills. Double Evo out, but only 1 upgrade on the way, so a little bit of a mistake there.
I'm still waiting to see if that second upgrade's going to start.
If you forget that, sometimes you get your +1 done and you don't have your Carapace.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Not that late, so not that big of a deal.
Well, we've seen these mistakes happen before, especially in the highest level play where it's a novice mistake, but the pressure gets that high. Oh my God!
Wow. Okay, so that was a good amount of kills. And another Banshee down here at the third base. aLive is doing a great job right now.
Yep, only 2 kills on this one so far. So aLive has got some pretty good harass, but it's not fatal damage here for Scarlett. Oh, that was cool.
Transfusion on a drone, I love it. Not something you see every day. Okay, so
Basically,
Roach speed is on the way. What do you think about this?
Well, I think it's pretty different, Artosis.
Yeah.
I think she's going to probably get a little bit aggressive here on that third base with some Roach bailing. What do you say?
Could be. Like,
or did you want to turtle all this? I'm actually not entirely clear on.
I'm not entirely clear on what her plan is.
Yeah, where this game's going.
Might be something to do with the amount of damage that's been dealt. Maybe she feels like she can crush the first push. That's always a strong strategy.
Maybe the timing of this push is all too predictable with a build, and this may throw off aLive if Scarlett has a large number of beefy units like Roaches coming in here with some high damage like Bailings as well. This is when 1-1 finishes up here for our Terran, so the upgrade's a little bit ahead. We're still waiting on that armor to finish up. But in fact, there may be enough time until right before this push happens for the rest of the upgrades to finish up.
Roach speed finishing. Ravagers being morphed right now, so Ravagers definitely can help out against these siege tanks.
Ravager cocoons are not quite protected. Some damage going down. The Ravagers unable to get to where they can corrosive bile the tanks.
Yeah, the Queen's doing a great job tanking a lot of tank hits, though.
Okay, this is awkward now. Terran has cut off Zerg from the base. Zerg tries to come back in. We need to have these Marines taken out so that the tanks can go down as well. Nicely done at the last second. Scarlett holds. Banshee's doing some damage on the drones, but so far not actually that many drones killed.
Nice multitasking, though. You know, having some amount of damage done. Look at that, going to pick off the Queen also.
But is it enough? Is the idea scarier than the actual application of it? I mean, Scarlett did deny that push, taking out the tanks, the medevacs, and all those Marines. These Banshees are certainly slowing down the Zerg, but I don't think this is something that Zerg can easily recover from, especially Scarlett.
Well, 5 drones is not necessarily the end of the world, but when you've gone for Roach Tech and you're down in supply against Terran at this point in the game, that's a little bit concerning. So, kind of liking where aLive is at in some ways. He's forced a lot of units out of her. He's killed a good amount of drones so far. The 4th base is on the way, but aLive is moving out once again.
Yeah, he's going to push out now. I do wonder. No, actually...
He's just kind of zoning right now, I think, poking out.
He's moving out, then going back. It's like feigning pressure, I guess you could say. But it seems like Scarlett's just trying to stay back and brace for a possible another impact here.
Yeah.
I think maybe with the sensor tower down, aLive actually does push out. No, aLive again. Rotating back.
It's kind of interesting. It seems like Scarlett is playing a very old style from like the beginning of Legacy of the Void, where you're going Ling Ravager with Ling upgrades into Ultras. And once you hit the Ultras, you're in really good shape. But this strategy did not stay around forever, that is for sure.
You got to get there first, right? Okay, nice snipe there. The hatchery is exposed. Looks like this one. Okay, good cancel there by Scarlett. I think that Scarlett will have to try to come in here and save this. I don't know if there's too much, though. The tank is still slowly doing damage over here. These Ravagers actually out in the front. Good job, Scarlett pulls him back. All right, and here we go. The full-on attack has happened.
A decent spread overall here. Going to be able to pick off those siege tanks at the minimum. Yeah, very nice hold there by Scarlett. Keeps her 4th base alive for now.
We need to have a few more Lings come in here, though. The Ravagers alone are not going to cut it. Again, the hatchery now taking damage. aLive going for the drones.
Yeah, killing a few of them right here. Ling's coming in, though. Some biles being thrown down. And he does turn around for the time being. But you know what? He rallied up another siege tank. A lot of bios on the way also. I don't know if this base is actually going to make it.
Yeah, it's looking tough. And these Banshees are causing a real distraction here for Scarlett as well. Scarlett's trying to expand while holding this. aLive, I think, just barely had enough. Let's see if the Banelings can change that. Nope. Scarlett taps out GG. aLive wins this series 2-0 and will go on to face off against Rogue.
You know what? It was quite a nice series. Scarlett looked just fantastic in her first game, really making it seem like she should be able to beat aLive, but aLive coming back in the long game and then really getting his harassment going, you know, in games 2 and 3 overall. So, well done by him. We're going to see aLive versus Ro coming up next.
I'm looking forward to that.
I'm not losing hope for Scarlett. I still definitely think she can get out of here.
I think Scarlett should win her 4th best of 3, and we'll see. She might even end up with a revenge match against aLive. That would be a great way to end the day.
Could be. aLive has been a big thorn in her side here in the GSL Codes.
We are going to go to a short break. When we come back, the winner's match in today's GSL Codes. Don't go away.